Alright, so today we're gonna build the world's smallest video studio in the smallest space possible. But look at this space, 4 foot by 3 foot, maybe 5. Very small space. If we can build a studio here, we can build it anywhere. So for those of you in a small bedroom, in a small living room, let this be your encouragement that it's totally doable. We're gonna try to get a good looking video setup in here. So let's get started. So let's get some decorations so it doesn't look like you're sitting in a closet. We'll deal with where to place it in a second. Let's get the next one. We wanna grab something like this to extend the plant so that there's actually something above your shoulders and it's not all blank up there. So we're gonna save this for later. First thing we need is a chair. We'll just put it in there for now until we figure out where it should go. Let's get our model.
So that's gonna be me. Hello, hello.
What we want to do is basically to have a little bit of a less boring wall. So what I would recommend is not just going flat against either wall, but have something cutting the screen in half so you get a little bit of a variety. So I think the first thing we want to do is we want to get this plant behind you, and we're probably going to put the camera here somewhere when we close the door. So ideally what we want to do is to make the background not just a chunk of like green and then gray and then white. That's okay, but we want to make it a little bit more organic. We want to break up those straight lines. So what I'm trying to do is I want to take this plant and move it actually to cover up some of this straight line here. This way now when you look at the corner, it's not just one straight block next to the other block, right? It's broken up. So in order to make this work though, we don't want to center our shot straight on in the center anymore, because then it'll just look like you have a plant sticking out of your head. We don't want that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the screen into thirds and align this line here on one of those thirds, and we're gonna see what that looks like. Okay, now looking at the shot, I think we need a little bit more balance here. This looks great, but it's just off to the one side and this side looks super empty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add something else. We're gonna go find something else that we can put here to make it kind of fill up the rest of the space. So let's go find something. I think there was a coat rack that would look really nice.
Maybe McDonald's bags.
This is so nice. It's like a self-defense weapon. All right, so now we have two objects. One that's a bit bulkier and has its own texture, and something that's a little bit smaller. Now, I want to position this one against the white wall because the white wall is a lot more blank. So balance-wise, I'm going to balance the more blank thing with the thing that takes up more space. That way, hopefully kind of neutralizing the intensity on that side. And this side is just adding a little bit more interest to the gray side. So let's do that. All right, and then we can hang a jacket here actually. So.
You want my jacket?
I was thinking, yeah, can we use your jacket?
That's all right.
All right, so thanks to Alex, we got a jacket. Right here. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to grab some lights, and then we're gonna put the camera in here so we can see how it looks. All right, let's do that. All right, so here's the camera. We put on a 24mm lens, f1.4. If you camera nerds know what that means. It's gonna give us a really nice shallow focus, which means that we're going to be able to blur out the background. And that's gonna be super important for us because we don't want it to look super crisp and sharp where everything's in focus. That's gonna make it look very digital like a webcam. And so I'm gonna use this camera and we're gonna set it up. We're gonna leave the door open just because it makes it easier for you all to see. So that Alex can actually stand there holding the camera. Otherwise there would be no more space for the camera. So let's set this one up. And so what I'm seeing right now from this shot is these things behind me are actually not filling up the rest of the frame. There's too much blank space here, so we're gonna move this stuff a little bit to the sides. And that will be helpful because then I can also scoot back just a little bit too and give us more space. So I think in this case it's okay for me to have this line directly behind my head because we're not showing as much of it. My head is covering most of it because we are so close and we're working in such a small space. So I'm not too worried actually, so we can move the background stuff to the side a little bit more. And yeah, let's bring in the light. I think we're in a good spot to do that. This light is the only one we happen to have on hand. You can get some lights that are a little bit smaller in their profile, a little bit thinner to fit into a small space like this. But we're just gonna use what we have to show you that it's possible. And if you're designing a space like this of your own and you really only have a tiny bit of space to work with, you can get a light that'll fit your space a lot better. So this is just to show you the principles of what we're working with. So we gotta find a way to take this and stick it into this space over here. I'm gonna angle this light downwards so that it takes up a little bit less horizontal space. I'm gonna throw it in and see what it looks like. And because we don't have a lot of space, you can see if I were to tilt this up, it would actually be in my face, like inside of my face. And so we wanna make sure this is still outside of the frame, outside the shot. So we're gonna bring this up vertically outside of the frame instead of trying to push it laterally because we don't have any space. So bringing it like this, vertically out of the shot. And we're going to turn it on and see what that looks like. And that's starting to look really nice. I like this. Problem solving, we did it. Okay, that's out of the way. I want to turn off this light actually. There we go. So that we have a little bit more controlled light source to play with.
There is one more at the top.
Oh, thanks. There we go. Okay, so, wow, this is looking great. And we're gonna bring this down a little bit closer. And this is how the shot is currently looking. I am very happy with it so far. We could add another light source coming from the top. And I think we have enough space to put it here. So let's go do that. So Alex had the great idea of using this, which is our kind of fake DIY light stand boom pole. Normally we would take a big, large boom pole to mount stuff overhead. We still want something overhead, but we don't have enough space to play with. So we're gonna use kind of my old DIY rig to do that. This is a fishing pole holder, also made for boom poles, and a grip head on a light stand. So we're gonna try this one out because it fits in our space and I'm having a good feeling about this. Oh man, this is so nice. All right, so there you have it. The door is closed. We are actually filming in a self-contained 4-foot wide utility closet. We got our lighting, we got our camera, we picked the right lens for this specific situation that we've got going on. We've got the right background elements. We've designed it to match our space. And I think this looks awesome. Honestly, I'm actually pretty surprised of how good this looks to me. We even have the light above and everything together is coming along really nicely. I'm gonna adjust this just a little bit. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Like very, very happy with this. And yeah, let me know. I'm very curious what you all think. I think this looks awesome.